This is the Fearless Agent Podcast, where you learn how to make way more money fast selling real estate with your host, the Fearless Agent himself, Bobloeffler.
Good day to you. This is Bob here at the Fearless Agent Podcast for real estate sales professionals like you, where we explain that everything you've been taught by the entire real estate industry is wrong, and you will make lots more money in way less time by doing the exact opposite. And speaking of somebody who has been doing the exact opposite and making way more money, I have the lovely and talented Carolynn Castillo on the line. Are you there, Carolynn?
I'm here.
Oh, my goodness. I feel like I'm in the presence of royalty.
You are.
Now, you are calling in from, how long have you been coaching with me? It seems like a decade.
3 years.
Oh, boy. And you are, you live in Hollywood, Florida. That's the Hollywood without all the stupid people.
Yep.
Yep. And you work for the best real estate company ever. Your owner is the most amazing guy ever. We'll plug him, Terry Swigert from Newcastle Realty. So tell me a little bit about tell the gang a little bit about yourself, Carolynn. You got into real estate and what it was like before Fearless Agent and what happened. Just tell me what happened.
Well, I started actually working as a ISA for a pretty big realtor in my area, and I was doing all of her inside sales calls, booking her listing appointments for her and her team. And then I said, well, heck, I might as well do this for myself. And then that's when I stumbled into your amazing program.
And you were drunk.
And possibly.
Yeah.
And
okay.
In turn, I signed up with you. I called you. I told you what I was currently doing, and you told me I had to hightail it out of there as soon as possible. And I signed up with you, and that's how I got started. And it was brand new from the first day. I hit the phones for myself. I booked an appointment, and I've been booking appointments ever since and loving my life.
So when I was last in your office in Hollywood, you had your whole wall covered with all the listings you had taken and sold and pictures of the happy people. It was yes. Wonderful. So and how many? And now you just had a baby.
Yes.
And it was a human baby, which was remarkable, but that did happen. And that was a little bit of a speed bump, I guess, in your business. How did you deal with that?
Definitely. Well, I really freaked out at first.
So everybody write that down. First thing, freak out. And everything will be just fine after that.
And it was a surprise for my family and I. It wasn't something we were, planning on. And
you don't know what causes that? I'll talk to you later.
I don't know if you remember me calling you with fear or frantic in my voice.
Oh, yes.
And,
I recall
it.
My company is called Fearless Agent. Did you know that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was full of fear at that moment. And I was just really didn't know how I was doing so well, from what you had taught me.
Previous to the kid, how many listing appointments did you schedule a week typically?
I know that I took my first year, I don't know if this, I don't know how many exactly I scheduled, but I took my first year 17 listings, and then the year when I got pregnant, I did 26.
Okay, so everybody should go out and get pregnant and almost double your business.
Yeah, surprisingly, I thought I was going to have to start hiding my stomach, but people were still listing with me, believe it or not, about to pop out my baby. And then my baby popped out, and I, didn't know how it was.
Yeah, that happened in a hospital, not accidentally in the...
Not at a listing appointment.
Yeah, okay, good.
And, I basically, I wasn't sure, and that's when I had called you to kind of strategize on what I was to do. And you told me exactly what to do, and which was I needed to bring somebody on that was going to help me with all the paperwork and all the stuff that I don't want to do and didn't have time to do, and basically streamline only working exclusively with listings.
And by the way, you named the baby Miliana, correct?
Miliana.
And I'm guessing, which is a lovely and beautiful name, and I'm guessing you did that in hopes that she would someday grow up to be First Lady.
Well,
no, you never know. It could happen. It could happen. Anything could happen in Florida. So one thing that I think caused you to do better after the baby came along after you were freaking out, is it caused you to be a little more disciplined about your time. Would you say that's true?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And what would you...
It was true, and I was just going to say that when I had first started, I was still working with buyers. I was listing strong, but I still did take buyers on. And I hated it. I'm really not, I don't like working with buyers, but I would still do it. But when the baby came along, it actually forced me to really not be able to work with buyers. So I would refer it out when I had one, or, I worked exclusively by appointment only. So I would have my calling time, and then I would set my appointments. I could get a babysitter for a couple of hours to go do the appointment, and then everything after the transaction was done by appointment. So it was very manageable to be a stay-at-home mom and work my business. And I think I closed last year 16 transactions, and one of them was a buyer. And that's staying at home with the baby, taking care of her, no nannies or anything like that.
There you go. Now, next year, when the kid, now that the kid's popped out, so to speak, I want you to do at least 40. Can you imagine it?
Wow.
Well,
wow.
Come on.
Wow.
Come on.
Well, I'm on 7 so far.
What's your average sales price?
It's possible. $300,000.
Okay, I'm going to do math. Watch this. Nothing's as exciting on the radio as math being done. We never tire of that. So if you take $300,000 and I do 4% because you charge 7 and keep 4, that would give you $12,000 gross closed commissions. If you did 40 of those in the next 12 months, that would be $480,000 gross closed commissions. Woohoo, making it rain. And then about half of that goes to expenses, write-offs, that kind of stuff. So you'd end up with roughly $250,000 net taxable income. So how many listing appointments do you schedule a week on average these days?
Probably 2 to 3.
And then to get to, do you have an assistant?
I have a girl that does all my paperwork.
Okay, so that's a no.
Yeah.
So
not a full-time assistant.
Yeah. So that's going to be the next step for you. So when you do your first week of scheduling 5 listing appointments in 1 week, that would be the time to pull the trigger on getting a full-time assistant. I think that's the thing that's going to make your life easy. And then the full-time assistant.
My life is pretty easy right now. It's pretty good. I got, that's the beautiful thing about, doing listings, and making our calls, right? Is everything's done by a schedule. Everything's done by appointment. So for a mom, for a woman working as a realtor, which I think is the world's best job.
Most moms are women.
Right.
Although these days.
Well, not always.
Okay.
Not always.
That's enough
but,
of that.
For women, I think it's an excellent career where they can balance kids and everything, because everything's done by the appointment. So you can always find a babysitter a couple hours or whatnot, and we can make a really good income and still, keep our family as a priority.
So if you increase your net taxable income to $250,000 in the next 12 months, that would help your cause?
Oh my God, yeah.
You could literally hire somebody to scream at your kid to shut up. That's called the personal
yeah,
assistant.
I
Yeah.
don't.
Or a nanny.
Yeah.
So
I don't think I'd ever hire a nanny, but
well, I don't have
hire
a
a couple
kid.
other
I have
things.
a kid. She's 23, and she's
Yeah.
telling me to shut up these days. So that's how that little thing turns out. But I do have a dog, so I get to yell at the dog. So it's kind of like that. So what would your advice be to somebody who's considering doing coaching with Fearless Agent? What would you tell them?
Definitely do it.
And you feel
I
very
actually got a call this morning from a lady, from a woman that saw my name, I guess, on your website, and she called me and we had a little conversation. And I told her, my story and just how it was just so easy to just take what you give us and just immediately put it into practice. There was, no thinking about it. It was like you give people the tools that they need, and they just have to apply them.
Yeah, one thing
that's
that
the beauty
I
for
think
you
makes
guys.
Fearless Agent coaching different is when somebody calls me and they have a question. You never hear me say, "Well, you could do this or you could do that." I say, "No, there's what every Fearless Agent would do. Every Fearless Agent does the exact same thing. There are 5 presentations that every Fearless Agent learns, and that." The other thing, here's a little tip I'm going to give to you while I got you. I think the investor presentation is in your future. I think you working with more investors because you give one presentation or 2 or 3, it could be buyer, investor, and listing presentation, and then they buy 10 or they buy 30 or something like that. So that might be an easier, lazier way to do more deals with less stress and work, less freaking out.
Yes, definitely. Another really great thing about Fearless Agents program is the fact that they have direct access to you. So to me, that was like a huge thing at the beginning because I had no idea what I was doing, right?
Well, you were brand new.
I was brand new. Yeah.
You had never
I was
been on a
brand
listing
new.
presentation or anything like that.
Oh no, never. And so it was just so comforting and so I think so for my growth to be able to pick up the phone and call you and I used to call you a lot at the beginning.
Which is good.
You were
because I'm lonely.
Yeah, you were. Yeah, and you were every time always picked up the phone and you walked me through it and you taught me exactly what it had to do. And it was, that I think was so critical because there's so many coaching programs and it's like you only have like a, 30-minute once a week session with the coach, or it's always in a group environment. And if you need that assistance, I think it's awesome that you're right there, that we can pick up the phone.
And really the bad
call
thing
you.
about those coaching programs is they never have the right answer.
Well, yeah, that too.
So, you are a sales expert because of Fearless Agent coaching. You're never in a money-making situation where you don't have the exact right words. And, the way you learned it is really 3 ways. You saw the audio and video of me demonstrating the 5 presentations, so you learned those at your own pace. And then, like you said, you can call me anytime. And I'm lonely, so please call me anytime. And then we have our group coaching call, and our group coaching call is actual sales training, none of which anybody could ever be exposed to anyplace else. So, we cover, as you know, all 5 of those presentations in great depth. We cover all the systems and the strategies for objection handling, farming, pricing, database, follow-up systems, how to do your marketing without blowing all your money. So it's really anything you would need to hit any level of production. And then that is 1 solid hour of me training on 1 or 2 topics of my choosing. And then there's usually about a half an hour for questions at the end on any topic. That way they get a little bit of everything. And then each episode is recorded for you, so you don't have to be on the call live. So now how old is the baby now?
She's 1 year and 2 months.
Oh, my gosh. 1 year. And she's able to walk?
Oh, yeah, she's running.
Okay. So pretty soon you'll have her cold calling. I think we call that child slavery.
Yeah.
She might be your new assistant. So and by the way, for those out there, if any of this makes sense to you and you're earning less selling real estate than you wish you were and you're open to the idea of having some help, if you would like to learn more, you can always call me at 480-385-8810. Carolyn will tell you I have nothing better to do than to make you rich. If you have a question, I want you to call me. I'm never going to sell you on coaching. We're going to find out whether it would be a good fit for you or not. Honestly, if you're nice on the phone like Carolyn is, and you are a hard worker, not even a hard worker, just willing to work long hours at very high pay is kind of the way real estate is, and just do exactly what I tell you to do without customizing everything. And you're very good at that. You're very pure to the Fearless Agent dialogues on the phone and the presentations. And so if you can't afford coaching, you're out there, but you wish you could, please go to fearlessagent.com, watch our 45-minute webinar, take lots of notes, go to the video training page, watch all those videos. Those free videos would be better coaching for free than you would pay any other coach any amount of money for. And if you ever have a question, you can always call me because we want to help you for free. So when you look at, new agents out there, Carolyn, and you say, what do you see them commonly doing wrong that no fearless agent would ever do? What are the mistakes you think they make?
They don't have a schedule. They don't have a steady way to get business, which is the biggest thing. There's people that come in, they start, I see them and they have no direction, and they get out of real estate school and they come to the real estate office and they think that customers are going to be walking in the front door, and that's not the case,
And really,
So
the experienced agents that are earning way less than they wish they were, they kind of have the same problems. They don't have a schedule.
Yeah.
They don't
just
have a
at
way
an
to get business.
Yeah, I was at an inspection this morning, and me and the agent were talking, and I said, how do you get your business? And he's like, oh, well, I got this guy on Facebook, and, I keep in touch with him, and yeah.
Remember when I was in your office? This is the funniest thing. When I was in your office and you were saying, I was looking at all those listings on your wall with the pictures that you had taken of the happy people, and you go, you did this for me, Bob. And I go, no, you actually, you did the work. I pointed you in the right direction. And I said, hey, Carolyn, would you be willing to go on Facebook and give me a testimonial? She goes, Facebook? What are you, crazy? I don't have time for Facebook. I love that. Like, what's that?
I never went back.
That's right. So let's talk about the schedule. Tell me about, now the Fearless Agent schedule is you eat lunch at noon, you eat dinner at 5, you do all your appointments at 2:30 or 7 p.m. at night, and you prospect in the morning or any hours that you don't have an appointment. You have a baby, so how did you modify your schedule? How do you do it?
I still stuck to the morning for prospecting, and I've found that I'm doing more listing appointments in the evenings and on the weekend. But that's just for me. That's how I adjusted my schedule.
Okay. So the 2:30 afternoon slot, you gave that up to be with the kid?
Exactly.
Good. And then you still do them at 7?
Yeah, 7 or.
And that way your husband, Enrique, has to take care of the kid, right?
Exactly.
Oh, his life is hell. Okay.
Daddy duty.
What are you going to do? So we'll pray for Enrique.
Yes.
And then the way to get business, what advice would you give either a brand new agent or an existing agent that's struggling? Where do most of your listing appointments these days come from? Because you're 3 years into this.
Yeah. Well, I'm now starting to get a lot of referrals, but all those referrals, if you trace it back to the original source of business, it was from a cold call.
So not mostly FSBOs or expireds, but cold calls?
For me, it's been cold calling, what has been pretty much for everything, and I also have gotten a lot of first sale by owners.
Okay, good for you. So
yeah.
the real secret to time management, especially for you, is to make every day look the same. And
right.
When you have a baby, you're not driving buyers around anymore. So that's an important. I think that actually forced you to do more business, because the minute you quit schlepping buyers around, now you're going to be taking to the Miliana to ballet lessons and soccer lessons and all the little recitals, and you're going to say, oh, if I could only get a buyer in my car and get rid of this kid. That's how that's going to go. I just know that. But it'll remind you of the bad old days, and it will be 10 times as expensive. But the secret is to make every day look the same. So nothing is as comforting when you're a real estate agent. It was, I remember waking up every day in real estate and going, what am I going to do today? And that's not fun. Now, you really started coaching with me on kind of like almost your first day in real estate, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So I gave you the schedule immediately. But most agents, they're out there going, gee, what am I going to do today? And they're, filling around on Facebook and social media and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. But if every day's the same, so this is the schedule. So if every day you don't have an appointment, let's say, and your goal is to schedule 5 listing appointments in 1 week or in 1 day, which sometimes, what's the most you've ever scheduled in 1 day? I'm curious.
Probably 5.
In 1 day? That's great.
In 1 day.
Yeah, that's the most I ever did. And that's only because I stopped after I did 5. I said, okay, that's enough. So if you call from 9 a.m. until noon, and then you go to lunch at noon. So if Carolyn and I went to lunch, which will happen probably sometime within a year, we will leave our phones in the car, and we will know that all those people who are calling us also have 911 as a backup, so we don't have to worry about them. And then we'll have a nice little chat. We'll look around the restaurant at all the idiots who are typing at each other. And then, you go back to work afternoon, get back on the phone if you don't have any listing appointments or buyer appointments or investor appointments. And then you call till 5. You're taking breaks for coffee and bathroom and whatever, snacks. And then you eat dinner. If you haven't got your 5 scheduled and you want to keep calling until 8 p.m., you could do that. And then you've done the best you could do that day, no matter how many you scheduled. So on Monday, if you do that, and then you know that Tuesday is going to look the same and that Wednesday is going to look the same. Now, if you have a 2:30 listing appointment, you've eaten lunch, so you're not hungry and cranky. You go on the listing appointment at 2:30. You get the listing. You make $12,000 gross, $6,000 net. You eat dinner, so you're not hungry and cranky, and then you go on your 7 p.m. listing appointment. You make $12,000 gross, $6,000 net. So it's either a $24,000 or $12,000 day, respectively. That's the best you can do. So you always had time for prospecting in the morning, so every day prospecting happens. And if just every day is the same, your life is calmer and you're going to make money. And, for me, because I travel somewhat to do little speaking gigs and recruiting training and all that kind of stuff. Like when I came out to your office to do a recruiting training session for Terry, my travel days all look the same. So if you have baby day or weekend day, you would want those to look the same to the extent you can. And then your life is calmer and dependable and you're going to make money. So, you are kind of the perfect example of how every agent should be in this way, that you are nice on the phone. You are calm when people listen to you, they're not going, oh, she's not all type A and in my face and, aggressive or anything like that. And the more people are like you, the more money they make. Most of all of my highest producing, I have agents that do 160 transactions in a year, 120 in a year, just them and one assistant. But all of them are just nice, calm, laid-back people on the phone. So if you're not like that and you are aggressive on the phone and you do talk too fast, you have to work on that. You're lucky because you're just that way normally. But one piece of advice I always give people is if you think you're talking too slow, slow down. That's the secret. So, and by the way, if anybody wants to send a referral to the lovely Carolynn Castillo in Hollywood, Florida, and you're in the Fort Lauderdale area, you would service any area in Fort Lauderdale. How about Boca Raton? Do you go that far ever?
No.
Okay. What's the farthest town you ever go to? How about Miami?
No.
So Fort Lauderdale. So Carolynn's not willing to, if it's not walking distance, she doesn't want your referral. No. So Hollywood, Pembroke Pines, Fort Lauderdale, that's kind of that area for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they can call you toll-free day or night at 954-815-2121. And I did mention that you work for one of the best run real estate companies I've ever been to in my life. If anybody is listening to us and you are an agent in that area, I'm going to recommend you call Terry Swigert, who is the owner of Newcastle Realty. His mobile phone number is 954-805-8396. He really uses Fearless Agent as his in-house training platform. So you have a lot of like-minded people that you are surrounded by, which is kind of fun.
Yes.
And, when I was in real estate, I worked for a company where they had fully implemented Floyd Wickman's program, and a bunch of us at least, kind of thought alike, and that made it a more fun place to work. And I would say this too: if anybody is listening that is an owner of a real estate company and you're recruiting less agents than you wish you were, and you're open to the idea of having some help with that, we do help with that at Fearless Agent. So Carolynn, what are the last thing you would want anybody to know before we cut loose here? What's your advice to realtors out there who might be listening?
I would tell them to jump on board with Fearless Agent and just trust you and trust your procedures and just do it.
And have a baby because it increases your production.
Well, it did in my case, yes.
Okay, well, thank you, Carolynn, so much for taking time out of your very busy day as a favor to me. I really, really appreciate that. And once again, we want to thank all of you for joining us today. Please do visit us at fearlessagent.com. You can always call me directly, like Carolynn does, at 480-385-8810. And please do give us a review of this podcast, 5 stars, please, on iTunes. You can visit us all over, go to fearlessagent.com. That's the place to go. And until next week, the advice I always give you is have fun, because that's the most important thing. Always be humble, and most of all, be fearless. Thanks, gang.